1989, I was with Dad on a trip up to Washington, D.C. It was an ABA GRC meeting. Yeah, there were some issues then too. I left, and I went outside one of the communities, and I saw a billboard that has stuck with me. The billboard read, "We've heard there's a recession, and we've elected not to participate." That community, I really appreciated what they said. They were saying, don't give up, don't participate in the recession, and let's utilize our strengths. In essence, let's move ahead. In recent months, our industry has been under attack. And I ask you, how much more do you want to take? If you're fed up with what's happening in D.C., yeah, Wes has got a gun, and with the regulatory environment, please raise your hand. I think just about everybody is. I'd like to ask every one of you to turn to your fellow banker and say, you know what, I'm going to do my part to get involved and not let this happen and not let this happen again. I will do my part, and I ask you to join me and also help send a message up to Washington, D.C. Please do not shoot the survivors. In mid-March, Helen and I had the opportunity to visit a Navy aircraft carrier, the USS John Stennis, out in the Pacific Ocean. This was part of their Distinguished Visitors Program. When they tell you to strap it in, they mean it. As we approached the carrier at about 150 miles an hour, we caught the tailhook caught the third track wire, and we came to a complete stop at about 220 feet. Wow. But the catapult launch off was like a giant slingshot. We went from 0 to 150 miles an hour in about 3 seconds and about 3 Gs. It was like a slingshot. The reason I bring that up, in the regulatory environment today, quick stops, quick starts, doesn't that sound like a normal work day? What does this have to do with banking? The carrier was named after Senator John Stennis from Mississippi. He also became known as the father of the modern American Navy. He was famous for his pro-military vigilance, challenging the Navy to look ahead. That became the ship's motto, and I think that's extremely fitting for what we're facing today. In the midst of the battle, we have to look ahead. What was he saying? Don't be satisfied with the status quo. Look ahead and be prepared. This message resonates with us well. Look ahead, think ahead, and move ahead. The democratic society that we enjoy today is constantly under attack. Sometimes the enemy is even Congress itself, and sometimes the media most of the time. Aside from learning to look ahead, I want to share a couple other lessons that we learned while aboard the carrier. We came away with great respect, not just for the military capabilities, but new leadership is paramount. The average age on the ship was 19 to 20, and that's a floating city of about 2,500 people during non-deployment. In fact, while we were on the bridge, a 20-year-old was driving the ship. It is important to remember that young bankers are our future leaders, and we must continue to develop them. Just as the Navy mentors their new recruits, we must train our future leaders for every position in the bank, not only for the traditional jobs, but as we know them today, but for the future jobs that have not been created yet. This is one of the reasons why I'm so excited about the creation of our Future Bank Leaders program. I'd especially like to thank Mike Norman again for providing leadership to the Future Bank Leaders program, and TVA is looking ahead for the sake of your industry. My experience aboard the carrier led me to believe that bankers can learn more from the military than we realize. Cross-training, retraining, respect for diversity, innovation, advocacy, technology improvements, respect for peers and parents, and most of all, pride. And pride in what we do as bankers. Most importantly, I heard the captain say several times that it's the people that make the difference, along with the best use of time, resources, planning, strategy, and coordination. This is true for our industry, our banks, our association, as it is for the Navy. Like playing chess, sometimes we have to look beyond the first move, and we have to look ahead beyond that. We must get out of our comfort zone, change the framework, and do what we do best. After all, we are bankers, and it's important to involve other industries and other customers to reach our destination. The great French artist Matisse proclaimed in 1908, In his notes of a painter, I do not repudiate any of my paintings, but there is not one of them I would redo differently. If I had to redo them, my destination is always the same, but I would work out a different route to get there. What can we as bankers learn from this? We have the same destination to inform, to educate, and we're able to take different routes every day and every week throughout our grassroots efforts to ultimately affect your banking family and your customers. If we keep doing the same thing, ignoring comment periods like Ray B, being apathetic as an industry, and not standing together, we will continue to get the same outcome. Looking back over the transcript of my grandfather's address that he gave at the 1966 TBA convention, I was astounded to see some of his comments. He was informing Congress, he was working at the state level, and he called for increased involvement. He also stressed the importance of profits in banks. As he said over 40 years ago, profitable banks continue to be the sound growth of any local economy, and I was impressed by his hope for the future of banking. He continued, real opportunity awaits young bankers during the next 10 years. Responsibility as management continues to increase, and we need new and young, energetic bank leaders. Changes in our economy require new methods, more education, and increased management techniques, and these changes generate intense competition. Finally, he said, the many changes in banking during the recent months have caused many of us to take more than a second look at our profit situations. There's nothing wrong with a profit motive, and there are many groups in our economy that have an interest in profits in banks. Profits are necessary to attract new capital. Wow, that was 1966, and those words could not be more true than today. Our battle cry is still an echo of ages past. Indeed, history repeats itself, and the challenges and hope that we face today remain. And rest assured, this is not the first time we've gone through this, and it will not be the last. We have been in battle with great challenges, and we can come through this together. So what is my challenge to each of you and those back in the banks? It's time to look ahead, think ahead, and move ahead. Sounds simple, but we need your help. It's time to go back to the basics of banking: simplicity, superior customer service, and trust. Trust not only among ourselves, but with our customers, our community, and just as importantly, trust with our regulators, our elected officials, and the media. This is your association, and I hope you've really been impressed over the last year how your association has improved its communication and advocacy effort under the direction of Eric Sandberg. Texas has been leading the way on the legislative front, but we must do more. We can start by improving our friend raising, the media, and our elected officials. What will TBA look like in 5 years or the next 126 years? What will be the changing needs of our banks for continuing education and advocacy? Holding true to our mission, one industry, one vision, and one voice, together we can and will make a difference. Let's start here. Please mark this date in your calendar. Yes, for those of you with Blackberries and iPods. TBA's Legislative Day in Austin will be held Thursday, February 17th, 2011. Thursday, February 17th, 2011, and you'll be hearing more about that. We need you there, please. What else? Participate in district and regional events. Partner with our endorsed vendors. Write letters to your elected officials. And yes, submit comment periods. Submit your comments on these regulations. We've learned our lesson on Ray B. Now's the time to look ahead and stand strong. You are the cornerstone of your community, and as you have heard, our state and national leaders are counting on us to do what we do best. Texas will continue to be the shining star. I close today with some words that my great-grandmother, Sally Austin, said to my granddad. Son, be good to banking, and banking will be good to you. We've got to stand together.